Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. Sorry we're a tad later than usual, but we went to see a brand new movie. Uh, it seems, depending on where you're going, it's varied as far as an audience goes, but we'll probably discuss that a little bit. Greetings and welcome, everybody. We got six here who saw Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, or whatever. What is it called? Is that it? The New
I
Empire?
think it's the New Empire, yeah. Yeah, I do apologize that we're starting late. It's literally Price's fault. So don't blame me or Tom.
It's all my fault. But anyway, Price is here as well.
I'll take the responsibility. I don't care. It's fine.
You can blame me.
Nah. You didn't even see the movie. How can we blame you?
But for not seeing the movie, it's a terrible thing that I did.
Well, welcome, Clobby. You just showed up at the last minute anyway, so.
Well, I thought, I didn't know if you had anybody hanging with you, so I wanted to keep you.
No, you're fine. It's just if you didn't see the movie, you just got to prepare for spoilers.
I'm going to be more useless than usual, but I'll hang.
What constitutes a spoiler?
I don't know. Honestly, I've been one of those that I've been trying to figure that out forever. Because, and this is why I get frustrated when people bitch about it, because like there's some people who are like, if you just say, even though the movie's called Godzilla X Kong or whatever, if you just say Godzilla shows up, they're like, fucking spoiler, you dickhead!
No, they don't.
Yes, I have seen people freak the fuck out.
We call them spoiler pansies.
Yeah, like the least bit thing. And then you got other people who will take everything up until like the end of the movie. And then they're like, okay, don't tell me anymore.
I come from the old school. Hey, I come from the old school to where we used to buy the comic book adaptation 2 weeks before, or the novelization even, as you know, you probably remember that. But they would come up with a novel 2 weeks before.
Yeah, or even longer than that. In some case, Star Wars, it came out almost a year before the movie came out.
I don't know about a year. Was it a year?
Wasn't it? Something like that. I thought that they had put it out close to, it was at least 6 months to a year.
I thought it was the end of 76.
Yeah, so, okay, maybe like 6-7 months-ish.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, the comic was before it, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. But like, no, and I grew up in this day and age where, yeah, like you just said, we had the Topps cards, we had the comic book adaptation, all this stuff before the movie even came out. And then sometimes with these trailers anymore, I mean, even back then they didn't give a shit, but now, well, I mean, honestly,
yeah,
I was gonna say, honestly, outside of a few things that they literally kept out of this trailer, which we'll get into, the spoiler parts.
Well,
I mean, this trailer gives away a lot too, but yeah.
Well, in 1983, when Return of the Jedi was about to come out, about 2 weeks before it, Marvel comic adaptation hit some drugstores up in New York, and George Lucas had a fit.
Which is weird because the Phantom Menace novel came out a week before the movie, and I read it.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything to the publishers but he didn't like the comic book. I mean, like I said, a novel, he figured people might read that, but he never got too stressed out about that, it seemed like. But he was pissed about the comic book.
Well, the first time I ever remember spoilers really was kind of like with Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. But anyway, you're going to say something.
Yeah.
It depends on if you choose to buy the comic book or you choose to buy the novel. Some people, I mean, you said back in my day, or I can't remember how you phrased it, Tom, but the book would come out, the Topps cards would come out, the comic book would come out, but you still would have to make that choice.
Oh, and that's true.
Nowadays, with the internet, which is everywhere and everybody uses it every day, you can't get away from it. And I understand that spoilers, just because something is a spoiler is such a broad term.
That's
anything
my issue,
that somebody doesn't want to know about a movie, they consider to be a spoiler. It doesn't mean that it spoils the movie. It doesn't ruin the experience, but it takes the element of surprise out of
that.
It can change the experience for people. So spoiler is in the eye of the beholder.
I agree pretty much with almost everything you just said, except for like, I mean, look, when it comes to like this whole like our day thing to now thing, I think the thing that you said the best was like nothing can really spoil an experience, and that's kind of the way I come from. And I get it. I'm not somebody who's going to go out of my way to spoil a movie on purpose for somebody, but that's just it. What you said there was the biggest point what I was making before, and that is you have no idea where anybody's line is when it comes to spoilers, because I can sit there and talk to you. And you'll be like, okay, don't tell me anymore. And I don't want to hear any spoilers. To where I'll go talk to Clobby, and to him, he'll just say, okay, just tell me whatever. And it don't matter to him. Price might like want an idea if I liked it, a couple of story points. But once you get to what is that?
What the? Yeah. Well,
Oh, there's
Tom,
playing in the background.
Price is having a
Star-Lord?
slumber party.
No,
Is that
no.
what's
I,
going
I
on?
I was actually trying to silence my phone, and then I clicked on something.
Oh,
and
is that what it was? Okay, I was
it
like,
started
who is
playing
this going
something,
on?
and then I
Porn.
ended up. No, it wasn't porn.
It sounded like gay porn.
So you're saying I should turn my porn off? Okay, turn it off.
That's why I got that extra screen.
Remember Starlog magazine? I remember back right after, about a year or so after, was it Empire Strikes Back came out? I was reading an issue, and a guy wrote a letters to it. He said he was standing in line with his friends to see Empire Strikes Back, and it wasn't the first, it was second showing or whatever, because it was the only thing he can get. And he's standing out there, and he said, this freaking dude was, these people walking by. One guy says, man, I can't believe Vader's Luke's father. The guy wrote, he said, I cried. It was so miserable.
That's fucked up.
That is dumb to do, but like, that's actually a Simpsons joke too.
Yeah, but it happened to this guy, according to this dude. I mean, it's anecdotal, but it's like, I would have been aggravated by that, I suppose.
But see, here's the other weird thing for me is I grew up in a world, and I get it. I mean, newer stuff is different, but like I grew up in a world where Darth Vader was Luke's father. We already knew the apes because every video had the fucking Statue of Liberty on it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like growing up and having it have Sixth Sense cover say "I see dead people" on it with the little kid, and then at the bottom saying Bruce Willis dies in the beginning or something.
Went to see that, and somebody mentioned it, blurted it out in the theater.
Oh, jeez,
that's messed up. I mean, that's just an asshole.
I get it. Nobody wants to be a dickhole. To me, I'm just like, look, if I accidentally come across something or I find something out anymore, it's just like, whatever. If it's true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. There was even some things that were surprises in here, even though I knew a bunch of spoilers from Nate, aka Mr. H Reviews, because I could have swore he said something that was completely against what was in this film. So I'm gonna have to revisit what he had said. But anyway, before we get into all the spoilers and all that,
saw it already before us.
No, I don't think so. I think he just happened to know somebody who did, but he did get most of the points right. Aurora Uplinks has been a member for 10 months. Thank you for that. Warachi's here and he sends in 5 and says, it's been an interesting week as fans. Ghostbusters, Godzilla, Gaming Culture Wars Round 2, Electric Boogaloo, upcoming Star Wars, and ongoing Disney disaster. Yeah, it has been a hell of a week for nerds, that's for sure. But yeah, we're about to nerd out a little bit. If Snow saw it, go ahead and send him the link, 6. I just saw your message in the background here.
Snow, did you see the movie?
Yeah, if you saw it, Snow, feel free to join us. But yeah, we're going to talk first non-spoilery for any of those people who want to, speaking of, just get the bare minimum idea and then can check out when we do dive into actual story points. But first, I just want your reactions to the film overall for those non-spoiler people who really want to avoid those spoilers like we were just talking about. And thank you, 6, for bringing up the spoiler banner. But so you're just
non-spoiler.
So just kind of your reaction overall to the film after you kind of tell us what you thought of the films up to this point, like where you're sitting with the franchise. So let's start with you, 6.
I love Kong, love Godzilla, anything involving them. I've never seen a bad Kong or Godzilla movie or Kong and Godzilla movie. I went into this movie planning to fucking love it, and I liked it.
Oh.
So I hadn't really watched the trailers. I'd like watch them just enough so that if we talked about it on Midnight's Edge in the morning, I would, kind of know what was going on. But I didn't. I wanted to go into this movie really fresh, not knowing much of anything. I love the first one, Godzilla versus Kong. I thought that was great. I love the little girl who's the last of her Iowa tribe, I think is how you say it. I think she's
Iwi,
adorable.
I think they called him.
Iwi?
Yeah. She's from Iowa.
Yeah, she's from Iowa.
Is it Iwi?
Yeah, I think it's Iwi.
That makes me snicker. I don't remember.
Like Kiwi, but Iwi, yeah.
Oh. So yeah, I think she's wonderful. I got to look up this actress because I think she's really cool.
She was a little girl in the last one too, yeah.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about somebody else? Or you talking
nope,
about
I'm talking about her.
Right? Oh.
Yeah, talking about that little girl. Who she's probably like a teenager, but she's
like 12, I think now, maybe 10, something like that, somewhere in there.
So, and I have the book, which I read like the first half of. I was trying to finish it before seeing this movie, but that didn't happen. So It was good overall. I recommend it. I would probably give it a 7.
Wait, did you just say you have the book? So you got the novel of this?
For the first one.
Oh, for the first one.
Yeah, Godzilla versus Kong.
You've seen the movie though, at least, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you gave this one how much again? Sorry.
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't like it as much as the last one, you're saying, basically?
No. I did. I still liked it. Like, I really, if somebody said, "Hey, did you like Godzilla X Kong?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, go see it in the theater."
Mhm.
So I just didn't like. I went in there thinking I was going to like it as much as Ghostbusters, which is stupid because the more I think about Frozen Empire, the better it gets.
Okay.
I mean,
interesting take.
Yeah, I mean, Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla X Kong had a little bit more of the gaydar going on, but
did it?
Yeah, more than Ghostbusters.
Oh, how so?
Between Godzilla and Kong?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, you didn't do the longingly line. I was gonna let you do it.
I can't do. That's why I don't like to talk about shit backstage because I can't be fake.
Yeah,
I don't want to rehearse anything. Like we never rehearse backstage, but sometimes
there was a lot of
something.
scenes. It's not even a joke though. There are a lot of scenes where Kong and Godzilla look at each other lovingly.
Shut up! There is not, Tom.
He does give him a smirk, a little,
Anyway, that's my.
No, and I'm gonna say that shimmering one. She's pretty fabulous.
Oh my
god! So I'm
God.
questioning her sexuality.
Yeah, there was okay. So
the disco dino.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that later.
All right, we'll get to that in a bit. Bryce, overall, what'd you think of the series to this point, and then what'd you think of this one?
If we're talking about the last few movies, the one that was Godzilla versus Kong, and then there was one with Bryan Cranston. Is that tied? Is that considered canon within this thing?
Yep, that's the first one. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that one of the issues that I have with these movies time and time again, and I don't feel it really changed, is that they try to present human characters that matter or that have some kind of story. But at the end, I never care about them. They're kind of a nuisance, and they even annoy me. And when it comes to seeing the creatures, I kind of like that. But I don't. I guess I'm more spoiled now after seeing Godzilla -1 and knowing that they can actually competent people can tell competent stories, even with Godzilla. Going and then seeing this thing, it's kind of a letdown. Even though I didn't mind the creatures, but the story and the humans really annoying.
Okay. So that's your basic review of it. You didn't enjoy yourself at all? Or
no, it's not a matter that I didn't enjoy. I would give the movie a barely passing grade. Like for me, 60 out of 100 is like the lowest thing you can,
like a D-.
Yeah, like a D-. That's what I give it. It only because I enjoy seeing the creatures. But if I had to really seriously look at it as some kind of story being told and characters doing anything, all these movies they disappoint time and time again. And this time around, they didn't even have actors that were, I feel like the cast was more flimsy this time. I mean, say what you want about that one with Bryan Cranston, but at least it had Bryan Cranston, or they had a few actors or whatever. These guys felt a little more, not really anything serious. I mean, I didn't love that Rebecca Hall in the previous one, and I had enough of that little girl in the previous one also. Now they brought the characters back, I guess, and they even gave Rebecca Hall a haircut, like the girl boss haircut, which was annoying. That's my opinion. And the little girl, like, we already had the girl that's the key to everything last time, and now she was even more of the key to everything, and the girl boss was even more of a girl boss. But oddly, even though all these are like annoying tropes, I didn't even care because I just preferred not to see any of these characters. I wish like Morgan Freeman would have narrated what was going on, and then I just see like creatures and don't see any of these people.
Kong delivered a huge uppercut.
I would watch that. That would have improved the movie.
So you
bring him to
like
narrate, show only creatures, don't show humans.
Yeah, he says like a 6 out of 10. Okay, I can respect that, but I totally disagree. When we get into the spoilers, I'll tell you why on certain things specifically. But like up to this point, like I have enjoyed the franchise. The first film, the Godzilla one, was good until they killed Bryan Cranston. Then it went off the rails. Plus, there's no Godzilla in it. You see him
for
for
the
like
first 10 minutes, you mean?
Yeah, like, and then he's is it 20 minutes or something like that? I don't even remember.
Barely.
And like, there's hardly any Godzilla in it. There's probably more Bryan Cranston than there is Godzilla, which says a lot.
It was like a found footage Godzilla movie. Almost.
Yeah, and then Kong kind of got more in line with what I felt like they needed to go as far as the tone. And
that was pretty good.
Then Godzilla, King of the Monsters, was great. Sans the people, and that's where I'll agree with you, Price, where they had a people problem. Like the people were the worst part of the fucking movie, and it's just chock full of stupid people, including that mom character, which is probably the worst character ever. Because she's so pointless, and her whole goal and plot is pointless. It's like all you had to do is have the bad guys go, "We got you and we got your kid. Turn the machine on." Right? Like that's all you had to do. Like that's all it had to be. It didn't have to be she was part of the plot and all this other bullshit. It just made no sense. And then I thought Godzilla versus Kong had really, really come around to helping a lot of the human issues. Not perfect, but a lot of the human issues. Millie Bobby Brown was dragged into that one again with her father character. I forget the actor's name, but he's drug into it again too. And I've just felt like they were just dragging the movie down, as opposed to Little Girl, who I thought was a big, huge plus. Because that's the thing with Kong. If he's able to have, either a blonde or a little kid to fight for, I'm cool with that. Because that's always a thing with Kong. He either has a blonde or a little kid that he's fighting for, right? So I was good with that. And in fact, in my opinion, the best of what was in Godzilla versus Kong is carried over here, and the worst of is left behind. Because we don't get any more Millie Bobby Brown and shit like that crap. I mean, Rebecca, what was her name again?
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall. I almost called her Rebecca Ferguson. Yeah, Rebecca Hall's back in it. She's probably one of the weaker parts of the film, but she didn't annoy me, and I didn't feel like the human stuff was overpowering. And like one of the plots with her and another character we'll get into probably more with spoilers, I thought was kind of a funny bit. I mean, I had a fucking blast with this movie. The more I think about it, this might be probably my favorite one so far of the group.
Wow.
I was having fun from point 1 to point B. And I almost was hoping there was an end credit scene, but I checked online. I'm like, oh, okay. So snap. I got to leave now. But like, oh, it was so much fucking fun. I was like a kid in a candy store. There isn't one as far as I know. I looked it up on.
There is.
Don't you fuck with me.
Didn't you stay?
No.
Oh, man.
Well, that's.
They said on Collider that they didn't have one.
I'm just kidding. There's no end credit.
I was going to say I didn't have one as far as I know. But I mean, it leaves you open for any possible futures here, but we'll get into that in the spoiler discussion. But no, I had a blast. I thought it was really fun. It's a cartoon, guys. I mean, and that's the thing. I can respect where Price is coming from. I can see where you guys are coming from. This one takes itself the least serious of all of them, and it feels the most like a 1960s Toho film. Like it totally is like leaning into we're going to have some fun with the goofiness of this kind of thing. But I mean, it does have some serious moments. I mean, just some highlights without spoilers for me were like, obviously, Baby Kong.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a highlight for me as well.
And I did enjoy, this isn't a spoiler, but I love it, how Godzilla has kind of adopted the Rome Coliseum to sleep in.
Oh.
that was good too.
Yeah,
he just decided that's his spot.
Yeah, and he's like slowly, just every time he gets in and out, he just is like slowly, just
like a cat in a cat bed. Yeah. So that made me laugh. But yeah, no, there's some lot of fun. I don't want to get into too many spoilers because if you even are remotely a monster fan, you're gonna have fun. Now, if you're somebody who's gonna go in with like, oh, I just saw Godzilla -1 and I want my monster serious, it's like, okay, fine. I can respect that. But look, this is just pure fun. It is a live action cartoon, and that's about as serious as you got to take it.
I still think that I accept that you're saying that this one is fun, but I still think that there could be something better done with the humans than what they've been doing in these movies.
Maybe.
It doesn't have to be as serious as -1, but these movies, they feel like Transformer movies, but instead of Transformers, you have those creatures, Just like in most of those Transformer movies, I don't remember what the humans are doing or why they exist. It almost feels that way here. It's kind of like one of those naughty late night movies where there's
I felt more like that with the last one, Price. That's what I was saying. Like I felt like the humans were the problem in the last one. This one I felt like they, really tightened up, and the humans are only in there for the bare necessity of what they need to be. At least that's my opinion.
They just dump exposition
Price,
and leave.
what were you saying about naughty movies?
I'm saying that you know how naughty movies, there's a lot of kind of filler, but then there's a few things that are kind of the main course of those naughty films.
I'm sure I don't know anything about naughty movies, so
then I feel
I've
like
never seen one. I've never seen any.
The humans, them talking and their acting felt like the naughty movie part, filler parts, if that makes sense. No, so I've been told. I don't watch naughty movies, but so I've been told.
No. The acting's much worse than this.
Much worse than this.
I didn't hate the acting.
I'm kidding. I thought they were fine.
I liked Rebecca Hall's character more in this one than in her other. That's
what I'm saying too. And I mean, I respect your opinion, Price, but like, I'm comparing this to the last few, and like each movie subsequently, I think like the human stuff has gotten better outside of Kong, which was the exception, right? Like that, I felt like they had it pretty close to spot on. And this here, I thought it was like, okay, so we got rid of a lot of the stupid crap with like Millie Bobby Brown and her dad and stuff out of the way.
Yeah, no, it's
now
good
we can
that they
actually
unloaded
concentrate on just Monarch type stuff and the storyline with the little girl. And I get where you're saying that she's like the key to everything, but there's reasons for this. Like
she was already the key last time, and now she was even more the key. She was the key to the square of 9 or
to
something.
A point. There is one other person that does play roles in this, and I'll get to that later, but I don't have a problem with it here, Price. And the reason I say, I'll get more into spoilers, but like to me, like I said earlier too, like as long as Kong has a kid or a blonde that he's fighting for, I'm fine with that. So I don't have a problem with her necessarily being the key to everything, and how they worked her in as the quote unquote key to everything. I don't have a problem with either, because it's completely in line with Toho stuff for the most part. Kind of some fans, I'm figuring more fans will have an issue with the change than they will what you're saying. See, and I'll get to that in the spoilers because I don't want to spoil any of that.
With Godzilla?
With a certain character, I'll specify when it comes later, because it has to do with a character that nobody even knew was in this movie. Let's just say.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll put it in the background.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of cheesy corn in this movie, which I didn't love.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that character was supposed to be here. So I was told they weren't going to be in this by Nate, I believe. But I could be wrong if I misheard him. But yeah. The one I just said in the private chat.
But the human element, and I know a lot of people, I've seen several comments saying just to get rid of the humans. I love the human interaction. I love the interaction with Kong and the little girl. And I love exposition. I love the scenes of the scientists in front of their displays, and they're looking at charts and graphs and wavelengths. I fucking love that shit.
Who was that?
There was a hell of a lot of fighting and disagreement among the Titans.
Yeah, if you're somebody who wants to see a bunch of monster fights,
yeah, you're gonna love it.
Kyle Chandler, that's what I was trying to think of. See, because I like him as an actor, but I felt like he was so just. He felt like he was in a melodrama. Like I don't know how else to put it, because he was always like, at first he's like, we gotta kill Kong, we gotta kill Godzilla. He's a horrible thing, blah blah blah. And then he's like, he's the only thing keeping us alive. And it's like, he's just so over dramatic with it all. And it's just like, okay, dude, take it back a bit. We get it. You lost your kid and wife. Chill. It's like, I get it, but you're like way overselling this shit. And then you just got Millie Bobby Brown, who was just kind of just floating through the films with her fucking friend, which is that annoying pisshead from fucking Deadpool, which I'm, again, another person I'm glad is not in this movie.
You know what I just read from her is that she quoted something about how she doesn't know how people can sit through a whole movie. She doesn't even like to sit through her own movies. And I'm like, Jesus, you're a movie star, quote unquote. You better watch what you're saying. I mean, if you're saying that you don't even want to go, why the fuck should we go?
She doesn't like. Can't sit through a movie.
I just saw that like an hour ago.
Wow, she can't watch a whole movie.
Yeah, she's probably pissed she's not in this one. That's part of where they probably save some money. Because to answer, this is a non-spoiler, I guess we can answer this. Mecha J wants to know how the visual effects. Well, they put the Millie Bobby Brown money into the special effects. I did not feel like we were watching a Marvel movie at any time. The effects, as far as I was concerned, were pretty damn good. Sometimes clearly you can tell they're CGI, obviously. You could tell they're CGI through most of the movie. Well, but I did not feel like the rubbery Marvel problems we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hollow Earth is gorgeous.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job. In fact, I would say even if they did back off on the budget on this one, it feels like there's a lot more monsters in this one than there was in Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I'd almost say twice as many, especially if you count, when this is not a spoiler, the army of apes that we discover in the film. It's in the trailers. So, yeah. It's in the trailers. It's in all the trailers. But they're not even really an army. It's just kind of a big group. But before we get into spoilers here, Sanders says it's his birthday.
Sing for
him. Happy birthday.
I just got out of the shower. Jesus. Okay, I'm wearing the mask, but nothing else. I hope you can't hear that I'm naked. That would be so embarrassing for me. All right. We got a birthday party. Is that what this is all about?
Something slapping around.
I got my hygiene material here. Bathtub shaves down there, if you know what I mean. Manscaped. Do you guys know what that is? Yeah. Anyway.
You know who doesn't manscape? Bo DeMayo.
Kong. Who? Bo DeMayo? I did not want to hear about that. Bo DeMayo and Bat Tom. We got a birthday thing here. Birthday song. No, that's not the right one here.
Did you just say Ho DeMayo?
Ho DeMayo.
Price, did
this
I
is
send
the
you
fucking
the
grocery list. Alfred,
No.
this is a grocery list.
I always thought you called him Hold DeMayo, and now I just heard Ho DeMayo is funny.
Sorry, I don't have the birthday song, but I have eggs, bread, milk, peanut butter. I want the kind with the nuts.
Lube.
You better fix that. Pudding
Enemas?
cups. Yep, that's good. High Seas. Yep. Okay. Flaming hot Doritos. We got that. Okay, good. Cheetos. Are they the flaming hot Cheetos or the regular one? You got to be more Pacific. All right. Well, look, you don't want to hear about my grocery list. Happy birthday, kid. Many, many more. How old are you? Like 12? Cool. Awesome. You're going to grow up to be just like Batman. Probably not, but okay. See you guys later. Bye-bye. I got to go to work.
Happy birthday, Sander.
Happy birthday, kid. He just took off.
That was nice. That was a nice
visit. He left. There's water all over the floor now.
Is it water?
I hope so. If he peed
Where
on the
were
floor. We're about to get into spoilers now. So, okay, let's
get
it
real
quick.
Price, what did you think of the visual effects?
Yeah, I think you said they were pretty good. But
I thought that they were pretty good. I didn't have an issue with the visual effects. I think Tom's assessment is correct. You could obviously tell that they're CGI and everything, but I liked what I saw. I like the whole thing, and I don't think it's a spoiler. It's in the trailer, but Kong and the other apes, whatever, and the Kong Jr. thing, all that stuff. I liked all of that. That was actually some of maybe my favorite parts of the movie, and I also liked it how it looks. And I'd if we got better VFX because they didn't hire Millie Bobby Brown, then that was a good move.
I was just saying they probably saved some money that way.
No, but you know what? I'm pretty sure this is what I think happened. I think that after the last one, they knew that they understood that nobody cares about these people anyways. So they just said, you know what? Why don't we just unload the ones that are asking for the most money, and we'll leave the ones that are sort of not expensive and nobody cares about. But at the same time, it won't really make a difference. And I guess whoever likes these movies, like I said with the Transformers movies, whoever likes these type of movies is going to go see them. And I think that, I guess, these people that are talking in the movie, the human beings, are like a write-off.
No, yeah, I can agree with that. I think they realize that the humans are less important than the monsters. And I think you're right, because I think the characters that are here are the bare minimum of what needed to be carried. And if you notice, and this is why I'm not so sure, like, I get where you're coming from, Price, but like, to me, this movie has like the least humans in it at all. Yeah. Like, they have the bare minimum of characters. They even get us you know, away from
And one
most
of
the
them is
stuff,
mute, so
yeah. So
Right,
anyway,
but I
yeah,
guess there's a part of me that wouldn't have minded if instead of all of these actors, you had like one good actor and just give him something to do. I wouldn't have minded that. It was possible with
I liked
Godzilla
the
minus
vet
one.
guy.
What'd you say?
I liked that vet guy. I liked his character. See, I thought he was a better version of Kyle Chandler's character in a way.
I
Because that's what
guess
Kyle Chandler's character was. He was a wildlife guy. So
he
I
was
thought
like
he
the
was going to end up being kind of a slimy douchebag, the way he was like flirting with Rebecca Hall's character.
no, I think that was just to let us know that they had a history, and I'm surprised they didn't
Yeah.
rekindle it. I mean, the movie didn't need it, but
I mean, she already had the girl boss haircut, and she was a girl boss, so they wouldn't rekindle the relationship. But
you can tell
What
she's
is a
kind of
girl boss haircut?
it's
What-
more of the pixie.
see, in the previous one, she had long hair, but then in this one, they colored it. They made it kind of a strange color, and they did it like a girl boss haircut. I don't
Who
know.
is this? Who is this?
Rebecca Hall.
I don't.
I thought she
Wait.
looked great.
Not sure who she
I
is.
honestly took it more of a mom haircut than a.
I don't know. I have some thoughts, but maybe I should keep them to myself.
No, please.
I didn't
express
find
them.
her too girl bossy. That was my thing, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
she
not that
wasn't
I
a girl
think
boss. The
maybe
girl
her-
boss was the woman, the dark-haired woman with the glasses, who we only saw indoors, who would walk around pointing her arm like all the way extended at stuff. She was the girl boss. But she would
Okay,
just wear her
okay,
hair in a ponytail like every other female scientist.
She is
I've ever
technically
known.
the head of. It
Yeah.
sounded like or seemed like she was the head of Monarch or whatever. Yeah.
I'll say this. Okay, maybe her character wasn't full on girl boss, although kind of, but not full on. But the haircut was a very girl boss haircut. I mean, she had like dark long hair in the previous one, and then in this one they gave her that kind of pixie whatever it is. And this is the part that may be controversial, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'll tell you. I don't want to lie to people. I want to be honest with people that are listening. I think that women, if they have
here we
long
go.
hair, doing that kind of pixie girl boss haircut, it's always going to be a downgrade. You know what I mean? Aside for if you're like Charlize Theron, maybe, you know, Halle Berry or something. But aside from that, in most cases, you're not going to improve. It's not going to be like an upgrade by doing the girl boss haircut. That's
I saw
my
it as more
personal
of a
opinion.
pixie cut than a girl boss haircut. But I mean, I guess we can agree to disagree on that because I just saw her more in the motherly role in this movie.
Whatever it is, it's the motherly, the pixie, whatever you want to call it. Once, like, they obviously made a change. And the funny thing is that I hadn't rewatched the previous movie, so I could barely even remember. I'm like, is that the same actress? Is that the same one?
Yeah.
And thankfully, because they probably knew, they may have had a test screening. I don't know. They suddenly inserted, there was like a line of dialogue where some guy's like, excuse me, hello, and then she's like, you don't recognize me because I cut my hair. I used to have different hair. And he's like, oh that's
Yeah.
right. And I'm thinking, yeah, you had different hair. I would have never known. You know what I mean? Like, how was it? It's not like she was such a memorable actress and character to begin with, and now she did the pixie thing. This is a lot to ask of me as an
I could see
audience
that as a
member.
general audience member, but like I had literally just got done watching all the movies in the Monarch series like a month ago, so I
I think
didn't
she
have
has a
an
very
issue.
memorable face. I
thought
personally did not have a problem.
I thought she was fine, and she's like the
recognizing
only
her.
one you really need to bring back. Go
I've
ahead.
seen
You
her
wanna
in
say
something. I
Tom?
think I'm looking at a picture of her now. She seems lovely to me. I think I've seen her in something.
She was in the Prestige or something in Christopher Nolan's movie. I think she was like the
seen her.
lover of Christian Bale.
I mean,
or
I'm not
something.
necessarily a fan of that kind of haircut, but I guess I did. She and the look didn't quite come off girl bossy to me. Like, I mean, especially when we get into spoilers, like really, I mean, this is not so spoilerific. I guess I could say this. Basically, her whole function in the movie is more of a mother than anything. Like a lot
Okay,
of what she's
maybe I'm
doing.
being a bit harsh. I still feel she has like a touch of girl boss, but maybe I'm being a bit harsh with her. But I still think that the haircut was a downgrade.
Well, and here's the only reason I say this, and this is because I don't want anybody to feel like there's any message in this movie or there's
No,
any
it's not
real
overly. It's not something that you look at
modern
it.
problems that we normally look because
No.
I didn't find any of it. In fact, it felt like this was as much of a Saturday morning cartoon as you could fucking get. Like they are going to
Yeah.
stay away from. They didn't even, like I said, they hinted at there was a relationship, and you kind of got like, oh, she's kind of getting designs back for this guy again, but other than that, it never goes anywhere. So
that
like that's
never even entered my mind.
It did for a second, but like then it like went away because, like I said, they never brought it back. I figured at the end they just have kind of this little tag or something. They didn't even do that, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, first of all, back in the day, in a movie like this, they would have rekindled their romance.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. I was expecting it because it's so obvious, right? But I'm glad they didn't. But Renegade Jr., I'm hoping you're feeling better, buddy. Says you're about to go see it. Hopefully you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun. Have heard anything yet? Well, we're talking about it right now, but we're trying to keep it spoiler free. But we're about to jump into spoilers. But I did want to get into just the basic plot before we do. Abdulio.
I did want to say, is there a super chat? Sorry, I don't want to.
He just asked with $2. Abdulio asked after how woke Monarch was, glad this one isn't. See, yeah, there was some woke elements in Monarch, but I didn't feel like Monarch was completely woke. There was only one problem I had with it mainly, and that's the one episode that a lot of people checked out on. And I'm like, sad part is once you get over that hump, the rest of the show is great. But that's just my opinion on that. But yeah, what were you going to say, Price?
I was going to say that if the humans were not so insignificant in this movie, and I really paid attention to it, then the fact that she doesn't end up with a guy, that she has what I consider the girl boss haircut, and a few other things there, the girl that's the key to everything, whatever. I think some of that would. It's not like a large scale kind of woke thing. It would be very kind of a minor thing, but it may have annoyed me. The only thing is that it's so insignificant because you just want them to leave the screen anyways. So I don't really care what they're talking about. And I guess it's not as significant. It doesn't impact the movie, and there's Kong with the Kong Jr. There's enough stuff to counterbalance it or even make it kind of negligible. But she wasn't with the guy, and she looked like they gave her the weird haircut. I can't ignore it.
Apparently, I did wanted to comment on Mecha J's comment or question about the visual effects.
Yeah,
and I hate to be Captain Obvious, but isn't it obvious that it's CGI because King Kong and Godzilla don't exist in real life?
Well, yeah.
Did anybody
like
no Hollow Earth? Didn't I mean? Yeah. I didn't go into this thinking that there was going to be like practical.
What I'm talking about, though,
that's been a theory of mine forever about CGI. Thank you.
You're probably right, Clobby. I would hold on to that thought because you're probably going to be proven right someday. No, like the obvious thing is how bad does it look, right? Like we're getting to this point where CGI should look this good all the time, right? Like, I mean, does it look like? Is it like a 10 out of 10 CGI, like on the level of Godzilla -1? No. It's not even meant to be looking uber realistic, though, right? Like it's very, like as you can see from this picture here, like this movie is paletted out like a. Is that a word, paletted? Sure. Yes. The color palette feels like a cartoon, right? Not even a comic book, a flat out Saturday morning cartoon.
Mm-hmm. But it's not cartoony. Like when I hear something cartoony, I think that's an insult. I thought this was.
I wasn't meaning it like an insult either.
Yeah. Okay. It's been used as a pejorative, though.
Yeah,
in critical circles. Yeah.
In all the best ways of that, I am sitting down with a bowl of the most sugariest, marshmallowiest fucking cereal I can find, shoveling that into my mouth. Just the only time of the day you're not pissed because commercials come on because they're actual commercials kids want to see, but like I'm saying, you're just glued to the fucking screen because it's just everything you want to see, right? Like just how we were with kids when we were with Transformers and He-Man and all that kind of stuff. And I get where Price is coming from. I totally will not argue that this is a lot like a Transformer movie. It has the same kind of, even those started turning into their cartoon versions of themselves, which I was kind of fine with. But my issue with those was just like, what MacGuffin is it going to be this time that we never knew about that was always here? You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of the problem I had with that. This, at least the plot is a little different than the last film. And let's get into that real quick. The short version of it, without getting into spoilers, is that Kong has been in Hollow Earth since the last film. And as long as he stays down there and Godzilla stays above, they don't have a problem, right? They But something is setting Godzilla off. They can't figure out what it is. So that's what kind of sets this whole thing in motion of them trying to pinpoint what is pissing Godzilla off. all while trying to keep Kong from coming up above, so he doesn't come after Kong. So that's the basic plot. Is there anything else I should add or think to that? You guys think that's...
Not before going into spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's about as best you can get without spoilers. Well, in the obvious, they discover there's an and while he's down there, this is important, and you already see this in the trailer. Kong's been he's been looking for something. They can't quite figure out what it is. But though, as you've seen in the trailers, it's obviously the apes. And then we learn more about that as we go along. But that's the most I'm going to say about that.
I was completely surprised by the apes, and I'm glad that I did not watch the trailers, because I was like, oh, when I saw them. So it's stuff like that. It's those little nuggets of joy that keep me from wanting to really know anything.
There is one. Okay, here's an example of something I guess I can see where you're coming from. I've seen all the trailers. I don't have a problem with that. But they did show, they have had a clip that dropped online last week that is the intro of Baby Kong, and you've seen it in the movie, right? So you know what happens. I already knew it was going to happen because I saw that clip. But when I saw the clip, I still laughed. So I mean, I still did enjoy it, and I enjoyed it in the
out of the fog.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into what exactly. Or do we have the spoilers up now? Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, kids, warning from here on out, we're going into spoilers. But so yeah, where do we want to start with this? So at the beginning of the movie, Kong is out searching around, and they're trying to figure out what he's up to.
He looks old. The next movie, I think he's gonna die.
Well, yeah, if they do another one, yeah. We'll see how this box office goes, because a lot of people are reporting empty theaters, and I'm like, I don't know, I had 30 people in mind.
Oh yeah, can we go over that real quick? Before we get into
spoilers, yeah, I had 30 people in mind, and it was a 3D showing, so I was kind of surprised.
This morning there was 2 seats sold to my theater because I checked before I fell asleep. And then when I got there and I saw the 4 people ahead of me in line, and I was like practically standing, right on top of them reading the screen, and I saw that it was my Godzilla showing. More than half of the seats were sold. I was like, oh fuck.
Interesting.
So something happened between, in that 5 or 6 hour period that a bunch of people just showed up. So I'm glad that, we'll see what the final box office is. Yeah, Monday morning. But yeah, I got good seats anyway. So it's okay.
What about you, Price?
My theater wasn't full. There were some people in it. It wasn't empty, but it also wasn't. I couldn't consider it full. There were many seats that were not taken. I did go to a very early screening, and when I considered to maybe go to the next screening, there were less seats available when I looked at the chart. So I think that it's not a situation that nobody's going to see it, but it's also not a situation where the whole theater is full. I think that when I went to something like Across the Spider-Verse, whatever that was, I thought that a lot of people were in my theater when I went to see that in an early screening. Not sure why, but in comparison, I don't think there were as much people here, but it wasn't like Madam Web or anything.
Right.
And I think that whatever happens here in the US, it'll do okay. But I think internationally, much like those Transformers movies, these type of thing, it has sort of an international appeal. It's not something that it's not rocket science. You don't need to understand a lot to see these creatures do whatever they do. And I think that it crosses cultures and it has a global appeal. And in that sense, I suspect they're not going to lose money. Just my take. I don't know, but that's what I think.
Well, and Kong is actually pretty popular in the US. More so than Godzilla. I know some people are like, what do you mean? So I know there's a lot, especially Godzilla fans, freak the fuck out when you say that. But no, go look at the box office. In the US, Kong is king. Before these movies, before Godzilla v Kong, the Kong Skull Island one was the one to make the most in the US. Historically, all the Kong films have done very well. Yeah, it's taken a while for Godzilla to become more mainstream here stateside. Yeah.
But what was the budget on this one? I thought it was like 125 or 150.
I say they kept it down. It was like 135. Yeah, 135 to 150 is what I'm seeing here. So
okay.
If nothing else, I think it'll break even. I don't think it's going to lose money.
I think it'll do pretty well unless people really go out bad mouthing or saying it's really bad. I mean, but it sounds like for the most part, we had a varied experience here, but it's been mostly positive, I guess I could say, before we get into spoilers.
I will say this: if you like the previous one, and the previous one made money and succeeded, and a lot of people enjoyed it, then you'll probably like this one. It's just that, like I said, after watching Godzilla -1, I kind of became spoiled and wanted to see something additional that I felt I wasn't getting from this movie. But if you like whatever it is that these movies are, I feel like this movie delivers on that. It's just, it depends what you're looking for.
In all fairness, here's the thing. Godzilla 2014 is a completely different movie than where we're at right now. And that's because in the interim of Kong and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, this is what I was talking about before. You may have heard me say it. Like that movie didn't do so well in the box office, but it did very well on video, and it also sold a shit ton of toys. So as soon as Legendary and Warner Brothers or whoever is in control here of this realized that, they quickly shifted gears. And that's why this series has felt very kid-friendly ever since. So yes, this is the kind of movie you can take your kids to. They're going to have a fucking blast.
How do Godzilla movies do in Japan versus
these kind, or their
do they
original
like
ones?
wipe the floor with everything else?
The traditional Godzilla films, generally, yes. In
the last 20 years, like is this movie gonna like double its box office?
I don't know. Let me see what the last one did in Japan.
Because I'm just wondering, because Japan owns Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
So I would think that this would be like their national mascot almost. That's kind of how I think of Godzilla. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, even though it's such a smaller population than America, do people go, does like everybody in the country go see it multiple times just because it's, is this like for football? Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know how much of a release it had. It looks like Japan, the last one did, and you remember this is during COVID, it did 16 million in Japan alone.
Oh. Okay.
So I don't know how that is in comparison to other things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's no little amount, but.
Yeah, and even though I'm not, a big time cheerleader for this movie, I still enjoyed it. I'm still glad I saw it in the theater. I think I paid $7.50 or $8.50 for my ticket. I saw it 3:00 in the afternoon. So, I brought my own pop in. So that wasn't a cost. I got popcorn, which I guess that was more expensive than the fucking movie ticket. But if this is the quality of Godzilla and Kong movies that we get for the rest of my life, I'm still gonna go see every single one of them in the theater opening day. I don't want my lack of excitement to be any kind of negative reflection on the movie at all.
No, and I mean, and this just after seeing the movie, it's pretty much exactly what I figured it would be, and that is, you couldn't take your little kids to Godzilla -1, but you can take your little kids to this one, and they'll probably have a good time. But all right, let's
gross aspects to it.
There was some, but I would say again, it felt more like little boys are gonna fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
Like if I saw this movie when I was like 7, 8 years old, this would be my new favorite movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'd want to see it 20 fucking times. Like the 8-year-old in me was just giddy with fucking pleasure through the whole thing. So let's get into some of the spoiler parts of this. So as we were saying, so Kong is he's on Hollow Earth, he's looking around, and after he's been chased down by these wolf-like creatures, he notices he's got a toothache. So he comes up to the mainland to let everybody know that he's got a toothache. And that's where we are introduced to our other new character in this film, pretty much our only new character besides the lady boss of Monarch. And this is the Trapper is his name, and he's a veterinarian, and he has a history with Rebecca. They went to college together. So we learn that, and then he fixes Kong's tooth. Kong gets a nice shiny new tooth, and then he goes back down to Hollow Earth, and they follow along just to kind of try and figure out where these signals they keep getting on the mainland are coming from. And also at the same time, the little girl from the last one is also having really fucked up dreams, and she also has she feels the signals or whatever you want to call it.
She's having like these images coming to her, and she kind of has this out of body experience, and she starts drawing them.
Yes, so she's drawing the same spikes that they're seeing on their thing, so they know there's some kind of connection. and they can't figure it out. So Rebecca goes to the character from the last one, Bernie or whatever his name is, I think it is, played by
The
Brian Tyree Henry.
conspiracy theorist,
Yeah.
YouTuber, blogger. Yeah.
Yeah, played by Brian
The token
Tyree
black
Henry.
guy.
Yeah, but he's fine in this. Like, I mean,
I
he's
love
there
him.
for a reason, and I mean, and he's fine in this, and it picks him up right where he left off, and she needs him because she feels like he might be able to figure out something that they're not seeing because he figured out Godzilla was coming last time and so on, or at least what was up with Godzilla or whatever it was, because the same kind of thing's happening now, but only this time, as far as they know, there's no Mecha Godzilla setting him off, but they can't figure out what is setting him off. Well, they're soon to learn what is setting him off, and that is when Kong is attacked by a bunch of apes, he captures one that is a little baby ape, and he makes him take him back to wherever the apes are at, and he leads them to this subterranean part of Hollow Earth, where this ape king called Scar has taken all these other apes basically as slaves, and they're looking for an exit from Hollow Earth because he wants to get above and kill all the other Titans and take over. And that's pretty much the plot. And then that's what's setting Godzilla off, because he knows this is happening. And basically, the last time they tried to do this, Godzilla fought back and he trapped them where they are now, is what we learned as well. So
And
yeah, was there any?
Scar is using another Titan to
Yes,
keep the other apes in
Disco
line.
Dino.
He's got some kind of weapon that at the end of the weapon he can cause pain to this Titan and
control it. Yeah,
and he's got it chained up, and apparently this Titan caused the last ice age.
Yeah,
with his or her breath, or instead of breathing fire or breathing nuclear or whatever, he
brings ice.
Breathes ice and snow. And
so after Kong stumbles into or not stumbles in, but is shown where this place is by Little Kong, because they actually refer to him as Mini Kong. That's what they call him in this.
He's a little asshole, is who he is.
He's a little asshole at first.
Yeah. I did not, because when I did see him in the trailer or in a picture or something, and I was like, oh, he's so cute. I just love him so much. I thought it was going to be like Grogu. I was like, you know, how everybody was like fawning all over Grogu and, oh, sweet little baby Yoda, he's so cute. I'd take a bullet for him. Well, that went away pretty quickly in the movie for me, because he was a little cut.
He redeems himself, though.
He does, but
I like that because it was kind of
shit.
And I saw that first clip where he bites Kong already.
Yeah.
But
and then he sets Kong up to be attacked by some kind of huge fucking snake dragon monster. He lures him into the water. They're like just sitting there drinking, and Kong has his back to the body of water, and Little Kong's looking behind him because he knows this snake thing's going to come up and try to kill Kong.
Yeah, well, he's trying to act like a little double agent, but then after Kong's nice to him because he's not used to anybody being nice to him.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. And he sees that Kong's good. You know, he finally comes around. I mean, that's pretty obvious, and it works really well for the story, I thought. I mean, having him being a little aggressive little bastard was kind of funny. I thought it was kind of funny. I thought he was a little rough with him at first because he fucking uses him to kick the shit out of the other apes.
Like, I know, swinging him around, using him like a baseball bat.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The shit in this movie, you cannot take it seriously. Like, if you try to take it too seriously, you're going to get way too mired in that shit. But
I don't remember the first one being this jokey.
No, they're not. And that's what I'm saying. They totally twisted the tone of the franchise, knowing that their audience was kids. Like, they knew kids were not happy with kids didn't like the first one. There's no Godzilla in it. It's like, and he's scary. You know, this is fun. Right. And so, like, anyway, so basically from there, that's the other thing that's going on at the same time. Godzilla's sucking up all kinds of power everywhere, and they know he's preparing for some fight. So for those who want to know how he turned pink, he kills this other Titan, just trashes
stole
him.
His drag wig.
And stole all his power. That's how he turns to pink. So that's all it is. It's real simple. And in the meantime, while he was in there all this time, I guess he actually bulked up a little bit too, and that's why he's a little slender. But so he was prepping for this fight because he knew it was coming.
Yeah, the humans keep saying that Godzilla is charging up for something.
Yeah. He's clearly getting ready, and
he broke into this. Not broke into. He goes to this nuclear reactor, and he sucks up all the nuclear energy for it
before the other monster.
Before he turned pink, yeah.
And anyway, so back in the Kong business, they're down there, and Kong's getting the shit kicked out of him, and by the monster and everything, and he gets his arm frozen and gets frostbite, and baby Kong helps him back to the camp where the rest of the people are. So the veterinarian reacts quickly, saying, we have part of this suit that we were building for Kong that the government stopped us from building. Imagine that we wanted to make one of the strongest Titans stronger, God forbid. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's like, but luckily we have parts of it here, and if I can go get it, it might be able to help Kong, and he won't lose that arm. So he's like, yeah, if he loses that arm, he's not going to survive. So they get this machine and they put it on his arm, and that's the thing you see in all the trailers with him on the thing on his arm.
See, I thought that there was going to be like this big montage of, okay, they're building this thing for his arm. They're, everybody's going to be a lot of sweat equity going into this thing, and they're going to use the Iwa tribe who can manipulate gravity. They're going to be using them to move the parts around. But nope. The veterinarian, he takes off, and
he ain't got time for that kind of shit.
He flies back with this apparatus fully put together, and it just kind of slips it on Kong's arm, and there we go. And I was like, oh, okay. I feel a little
that was probably in the original script 6, but you know what? Somebody said, look, we got to get to the monsters.
Yeah.
X.
Let's get rid of these humans.
X. Like, just fucking through the whole thing. Because you're not right. I mean, it's very exposition light in some scenes. It's like it just jumps to right. Like, we're not even going to fucking piss around trying to, like, play games with the whole, like you just said, we're not going to go through the effort of showing some of these things. We're just going to say, this is already there. We're going to use it. And then they cut to this thing. Like, I mean, it was kind of like with the dentist thing in the beginning. He comes up and they're freaking out because they're like, if Godzilla figures out that Kong's up here, he's going to show up. Right. So like, we got to act quickly. And they literally cut from, them just figuring out what the hell is wrong with Kong to the guy doing the job already. So like, they're pretty efficient with their editing in this film. Like, they clearly went through with a good rewrite or an editor, and it's done well, at least in my opinion, because I didn't feel lost at any time, or I didn't feel like anything was not explained well enough for me or anything like that. I didn't feel like there was a bunch of missing quote unquote scenes here that needed to explain anything or set something up. Like, I felt like I understood everything, but you're right. Like, they don't piss around. They just chop through stuff real quick. It's like, we got this thing. Let's go get it. They go get it. They get done with it. Don't waste 20 minutes on it, because they know they got only an hour and 50 minutes to tell you the story, and make sure every little bit of it counts, in my opinion. At least that's the way I took it.
Yeah. There wasn't, because I frequently hear you say they could have edited out 20 minutes of this film, or this movie was
this is
half an hour too long, which I never agree with, because I always say more is better. But this one, what is your?
No, I can't imagine cutting anything more than you did out, because to me, it's like, you take anything else out, you're not going to understand certain things. Maybe I think everything is perfectly here in its place, to where I didn't feel lost anytime. And that's important for kids, right? So again, you guys got to realize that, like, I'm not rating this on a level like I would with Godzilla -1. Godzilla -1 is like Godfather level Godzilla movie.
Wow.
This is like your Toho level, like classic, paying homage to the fun. We're going to have, monsters doing all kinds of crazy kung fu shit. And they do. Like, they are pissing around here. Like, they know exactly what they're trying to do with this. And if it's not your bag, it's not your bag, right? But we did forget the other quick part, where the Iwi part, like, so the little girl discovers there's a temple there. They say it's ruins, but she realizes it's a full-on temple, and she gets it going. And then they find this, like, organic wall that's protecting them from something, or keeping something out. They can't figure it out first. So they get through there, and they realize there's this whole other Iwi tribe that's been hiding down there this whole time. Because as we thought this whole time, the little girl was the only one who survived. Well, it turns out, no, there's a whole nother group of them down there. And as these guys were saying before, they use and manipulate the gravity down there to help them move shit around, because they got pyramids and stuff like that. And that's how they actually, so there's this whole thing about, how they manipulate the gravity and stuff like that. And they're preparing to try and manipulate the gravity for for the battle with the apes and this Shimmer dinosaur who I've been calling Disco Dino or whatever. And so they're prepping for all that stuff too. But at the same time, they realize that, or they think that, I forget to get her name, the little girl, the little deaf girl. Let me look here.
Just call her little deaf girl.
It's Gia. That Gia is actually, and you're not wrong, Price, that she's the key to everything. But I didn't have a problem with this, and this is why I said that before, because they're emulating the Mothra stuff with the twins, where Mothra is controlled and speaks to a pair of Japanese girls in the original Toho.
I think Price is dead. He hasn't said anything for like.
Yeah, no,
totally here. I'm 100% here.
Okay, so spoilers of all spoilers, guys. Mothra's in this fucking movie. We didn't know it. Okay, so that's one thing they managed to keep completely a secret. And so her job is to bring Mothra back to help Kong and Godzilla. Because Rebecca Hall is reading through the hieroglyphs and she realizes what this is all about now, and that Kong and Godzilla will not be alone. They've got some backup and all that kind of stuff, because the apes are bad, and so is this monster.
I mean, there's one part where they're like showing a painting on the wall or whatever it is, like a drawing, and then they're like, "Look, it's the girl who's the key to everything." Like I'm
fine with it though. I'm fine because it's Mothra.
I understand.
Oh, we're losing before we get deep into Mothra.
Oh, Klobby's got to run.
Klobby's
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's so late. I had to get the.
No problem, brother. We're glad you were here.
Okay, I'll try to see it next week, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Looking forward to it. So, but everybody have a great night.
What do you got going? What do you got coming up, Klobby?
Oh, I've got the clubhouse tonight. I've got to go get ready for it. Got a number one and Mark. We got our Blake 7 review and reviewing Kolchak.
Got to do number one. Got to go pee.
That's right. I call Raquel number one.
Oh my God! Don't tell her I said that.
I'll just tell her you called her. You'll call her.
Who does number 2 work for?
I love Raquel.
Yeah, I got. And, we're also going to review Kolchak the Night Strangler as well and stuff, and a lot of fun stuff. All right. Thanks for having me, buddies. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. Hope I get to
take care, brother.
Later,
bye,
Gators.
Bobby.
Good night.
I don't remember seeing Mothra in the early trailers, JB.
See, I don't remember Mothra being a surprise, but Mothra creeps me out because I hate bugs. So
okay, well, here's the other reason why Mothra is important to this, and this is the way I've seen this for a while now, and this movie confirmed my theory, and that is that basically, like, Kong is the protector of the people, Godzilla is the protector of Earth, and Mothra is kind of like a stand-in for like the mother, right? Like she brought Godzilla back to life.
She's the protector of the sky.
She's the protector of the sky. She's like the mother of all, like, and what's funny, and this is why I said that, she actually plays the motherly role in trying to get these two to get along.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm like, it is such a Toho moment. That's her magic dust. Oh, you mean the webbing? That webbing stuff is
that
like
what it is? Webbing?
Yeah.
Do moths make webs?
I don't know, but she's always shot like this web shit out.
She's a spitter.
She's a spitter. Yep. Yeah. A spitter. No, I thought they did a great job setting that whole thing up where you have the trio working together against, the ultimate threat to Earth that could bring on the new ice age. And again, here we have another environmental message, but they don't necessarily shove any environmentalism in there.
What was the environmental message?
That she could bring on the new ice age. Disco Dino, remember? That's the whole point, is that he was going to bring her up there to bring on the new ice age so he could kill all the humans and take over the Earth and kill all the Titans.
That's not environmental. That's a Titan taking.
I know. That's the beauty of it. Is it?
You see environmental in everything.
Well, they didn't.
You say I see gay and everything. You see environmental in everything.
Would you let me finish? Okay. I was waiting for it because of that. It didn't happen. Same thing with Frozen Empire, right? I was expecting it there too, and they didn't bring it up once. But I just watched Aquaman last week, remember? And literally within the first 20 minutes of Aquaman 2, they bring up global warming 5 fucking times. Right? And it's part of the plot of the film. I get that, but that's what I was expecting and waiting for, but they didn't do it. I'm glad. That's my point. Is they could have pulled in like this, it's just like this, and it's, well, we should take care of the Earth and environmentalism and blah, 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 blah. Like they didn't. That's my point. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see any politics in this movie. I didn't see any like messages like that or anything like that. The only message I seen was punch and punch hard. That's what I got out of it. Don't send me no more mail pics. Just say what you're gonna say then.
I don't
You let me
remember what I was
finish.
saying.
But I have a question for you. I may have, I don't know, maybe I tuned out for a second. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to some of these characters. You know the guy, am I allowed, I'm allowed to speak spoilers now, right?
Yeah, we're on spoilers.
So,
We've been on spoilers for the last 45 minutes.
Right, but I just wanted to make sure that like it's full spoiler, you know what I mean? I've listened to the spoiler, but I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing off the table. The podcaster, he takes footage of all the stuff, and then the guy tells him, "Oh, you shouldn't be sharing that with people." Is there a resolution to that at the end? I don't remember. Does he?
No, they leave it hanging, but I think it's implied that he gets it, but he's not gonna admit
It's
it.
funny because like they planted that as if that's like a plot point, and then when the movie ended, I said, maybe I was kind of looking at my Diet Coke for a second, and I missed whatever this thing, because that was supposedly his character arc. I thought at the end he'd be like, you know what, people shouldn't see this. This is too important. I'm going to keep this to myself. But I don't remember a scene like that. He just kind of.
Well, there's two parts setting that up. Actually, you're right, but they don't actually let you know what he's gonna do. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Right. It looks like they're cooking that, but then they never pay it off. Unless they think in the next movie it'll be relevant or something.
Well, I almost thought that their guide, the original military guy or whatever, I thought he was going to turn on him because he's the first time I thought of that because he made the comment, in sarcasm. He's like, "Oh yeah, God forbid somebody make a profit out of this and kill all those damn monsters." Like that's basically what he was saying because like that's what they were talking about is trying to keep corporate interests out of the Hollow Earth.
And then the flower eats.
Eats him. Yeah, so he just goes nowhere. But like, and then the next part.
I thought the reason that that guy told the conspiracy theorist not to film it or not to release the filming is because they didn't want people to see it and then come down there and try to destroy it.
It's the same thing, corporate interest, right?
Which is, I mean, isn't that now I'm looking for an environmental.
I have another question for you, Tom.
No, I think it was more about the corporations coming down and just strip mining it, basically.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Tom. Why did they need the podcaster on their trip to begin with?
Because she said that he was the only one that knew that Godzilla was coming the last time, or that he was pissed off or whatever. Because he figured it out
kind of flimsy, you know what I mean? Like
sort of, but she was desperate at that point, and that's where I didn't get the girl. And that take me back to my girl boss stuff. Like she didn't have any answers in this movie. That's why I didn't get the girl boss bit out of Rebecca Hall because she is desperately trying to figure out what's going on with Gia because she is now her mother, her adopted mother. And she even says to him, like, you were the guy that figured out that Godzilla was going after Mechagodzilla before. I need your help now because nobody else can figure out what's going on here.
I'll tell you what it felt like. It felt like that they wanted to unload the actors that cost the most money and keep a few that cost the least amount of money.
You're possibly right, but I liked the character, so I was fine with it. So yeah,
they needed him and her, but I feel like they never really gave a good explanation. You know what would have been a better writing? And this is just an example for why the thing annoys me. What if he would sit around and he's picking up on all these like signals and he's trying to bring it to her and something more organic that seems like maybe they're still in touch?
Because that's what they did in the last movie. So I don't think they wanted to recycle that plot line again.
It would have been more believable than her showing up at his place and being like, "You once thought that Godzilla was angry. Why don't you come with me to this top secret thing in the jungle?" Like whatever. I don't buy it.
Well, I see his role in this as he's the comic relief. He's the everyman. He's portraying our view as, any person who walks in off the street to see this movie. How would they react if they were in that situation? They would react how he would, terrified.
Well, because that's where
completely out of their element. And also, I think it's consistent with what you said, Tom, is that her character, she's desperate. This is about that moment when she's talking with him. She's desperate for help with her daughter. And it's not really until they kind of take off and get going on this trip that all this other stuff is revealed, and they find, it just keeps building and building exponentially with what actually is going on. It's beyond these
it's all fine.
Or these images that her daughter is having. And it's consistent with her being the mom, from the beginning to the end, that really pushing that part about how she feels about this little girl.
The studio decided that they needed him for another movie, and the way they wrote it, in my opinion, is kind of like if a 5-year-old child wrote why he was included in the movie, which in my opinion could have been avoided. I understand she's desperate, but you know what? Somehow, even while watching it, I was like, this seems very kind of like the script needed this to happen rather than that they made it play out organically. Or maybe like we keep saying, maybe they just don't care about these human characters. They chose the cheaper actors. They're just like, let's give them some exposition dumps here and there, like half a joke or some kind of comic relief. And
honestly,
maybe, yeah,
I think you're just racist.
No,
why?
I think you're partially right. And honestly, to be honest, I think maybe this was the shit that Millie Bobby Brown was supposed to do. Because this is kind of the role she filled in the last one along with him. And she's the one who found him. Because that's the whole thing too. And that's because he was trying to tell everybody that Godzilla's looking for something. And then they go and they discover, because that's what I'm just trying to figure out is when's the last time you watched the last one? Because I get where you're coming from, but he's already kind of proven himself to Monarch. That's why I'm totally cool and fine with this. This was just like, she needed his help because he was the one who figured out that Godzilla was what Godzilla was up to in the last one. And they have a very similar thing going on here because they can't figure out why Godzilla's pissed off, but they know they don't have a Mecha Godzilla again.
I'm just saying that, what would have been better if it would have done a time jump and implied that they're still friends. You know what I mean? Make it like now they're actually cool with each other, and they meet up, and they're he's not like some bum, but actually like they know each other, and maybe they give each other tips from time to time, and then they have this conversation. And if they had this rapport and friendship, it would actually make more sense to me. Her just showing up and she's like, "Do you know who I am?" He's like, "No." I got a haircut. Don't you remember? No. You're right. He's like the everyman audience member. I didn't remember who she is either. I don't know. I feel like this was done in a very clinical and sloppy way. I would have done it differently.
I guess I didn't have as much of a problem with that because I also kind of could tell that they probably took the Trapper character and gave him all the stuff that the what's his face would have had in the last if they would have brought him back. Kyle Chandler.
I didn't mind the
because he's just a vet. Why does he all? Because here's the thing that stuck out to me was he's a vet. Why all of a sudden does he know behavior of animals? Because remember, he's the one that's like because he's like, and I get it to a point, but like he was coming off like Kyle Chandler's character would be doing. Because that's what he was a survivalist. So like he would be like, we're in the wrong place.
They wanted to have like a Steve Irwin type of character.
And that's kind of what he is. And also the same thing with, like I said, I think they combined those two characters. Like he was meant to just be a vet and they just combined the two characters so they didn't have to bring back Kyle Chandler. That's why I agree with you to a point, but I didn't have a problem with the ones they brought back because these were the characters that I didn't mind the last time. So maybe that's the way they went to is between price and the ones that people actually tested the best with.
And you don't think that veterinarians know about animal behavior?
Well, they do. But my point is he's sitting there and all of a sudden they're like, we shouldn't be here. And the guy's like, what do you mean? The military guy's like, don't you smell that? And he's like, what? He's like, the smell of decay and death or whatever. And he's like,
maybe
it's probably just some carcass or whatever. Because that's the thing with Kyle Chandler's character's role filled in the last two was he was the survivalist guy who knew animals. So like he was the one that always figured out the behaviors and where they should and shouldn't be, kind of like what's his face from Kong was the survivalist. Loki, what's his name? Tom Hiddleston. He was their survivalist in that one.
You know what I would have done? I would have done something else. I would have made it that this the woman Rebecca Hall is actually like, she's the head of that division, and she walks into the office like one of the first scenes in the same office right now. Instead of him being a podcaster, he's now working with her. He's part of the research team. The other guy that's a veterinarian, instead of just having, he's a vet, but he's really weird. Instead of that, you actually have a team where he's actually working with them, and you understand that he's kind of an expert in not only veterinarian affairs, but he's working, you know what I mean? Like,
I see what you're saying. And if I would have script doctored it, here's the one thing I would have done to kind of fix what you're saying, because I have no problems with the way it is. But what I would have done is, because this is kind of why they don't have a relationship, is because they don't like him. He's out there telling all their secrets. And that's why she comes to him, because he's the only one who knows more about this stuff than they do, or just as much as they do. So basically what they should have done, I think in your observation, at least, what I would have done as a script doctor is I would have made it to where they're both fully aware of each other, but it's an animosity because she just wishes he would shut up about Monarch to the public, right? Because that's kind of what they keep setting up. And that's where that one guy, the trapper's telling him, is like, if you put this out there, then that means we're going to have everybody down here fucking up shit, basically, in so many words. And that's kind of what they're setting up in the beginning too, right? Is they're trying to keep this stuff as much under wraps as possible while letting everybody know on a need to know basis with Godzilla when he's on the move. And that's kind of another thing. Like if you see the Monarch show, you really kind of get a lot more out of that, because the Monarch show, I hate saying that it's not necessary homework, but it's helpful homework, because it really does kind of help explain the politics of where Monarch sits in the government and what the other companies that are involved in these things have to do with anything and stuff like that. So that's really what it does, is it kind of takes you through the history of Monarch more so than anything. But,
I admit I didn't watch it, but
yeah, no, I get you. I'm just saying, like, it might help, but you don't need it. It's kind of
the other thing is you have like Godzilla going around destroying things, whatever, at the beginning. I mean, how much need to know can they keep from the people? It's not like it's some secret monster. He's out there doing crazy crap,
because
you know what I mean?
Basically, what you understand, and I mean, part of this is in the movie, so it's not like it's, like I said, it's not necessarily homework, but it's just kind of hit home more in the show. And that is that the government is constantly wanting to kill these Titans. And Monarch is the only thing stopping the government from killing the Titans, because they have convinced certain enough amount of people in the government that, like, Godzilla is protecting us and Earth.
Right.
Kong is protecting us.
Protecting us in the hollow.
Exactly. So, like, and that's kind of what that guy in the beginning is commenting on. And that's what they're talking about. The whole thing is like, he's like, oh, God forbid somebody actually makes some money off this. And, we get rid of all these goddamn monsters, because that's the thing, is they're constantly fighting for funding from the government, but that's not really shown in the movies all that well. Right. So it's like they're fighting against the government while also relying on them for money. So it's kind of a political push and pull. So, like, when you see Kong after you've seen Monarch, you totally get a different understanding of where John Goodman's character is coming from when he shows up in the beginning of that movie. Right. I mean, he's there, you kind of get an idea, but like, once you see Monarch, you're like, oh, okay. So like he's been keeping this thing alive, literally milking it with nothing for years, trying to get every little pittance he can out of the government, while also trying to explain to them what, like, we got to deal with this shit now, or we're going to be taken off guard. And that's kind of why the government still trusts them, is because they were taken off guard and they didn't listen to them for so long. Right. So it's kind of like this whole thing, but yeah, they're actually not exactly the government, but they're part of the government. It's kind of a, they're like not exactly a clandestine group exactly, but they are kind of. It's, yeah. And that's where the black guy, the podcaster guy, comes in, because he's trying to blow the lid off of Monarch while they're just trying to keep the lid on it so they don't have more shit like they had problems before, where people are like killing using, like, that one, people were using the head of selling parts of the monsters and stuff like that.
It would have been nice if they could have, like, the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, 5-10-15 minutes, built an atmosphere that she has a crew of people that works with her, and that not that she has to collect them like Blues Brothers style, but they're with her. There's a team. Create a thread, explain the situation, and then just go out into the field. And I think that would have made more sense, and there would have been a way to really show some kind of camaraderie right out the gate, and sort of show the relationship between them. And even if there's a past romantic history, anything, instead it kind of comes off as random. And the only reason they can get away with it is because this is a Kong and Godzilla movie. If this was a movie just about people and relationships, you would not stand for it. You would say that it's complete crap, in my opinion.
Well, and that's where I think you've got to kind of come to some conclusion here, because you're like, I hate the people in this movie, but yet, I want to see more monsters. But then, like, what little people are here is to kind of get us to the monster stuff. So
no, there's a way to do a balance. I do think that
I guess I get what you're saying, but like,
they're not even trying. They didn't even try. That's what I'm saying. It's like nobody even made an effort. Somebody sat in some like kind of room and studio, and they just said nobody cares about this. Like you can just have them do exposition. People are just going to see the monsters. Just choose the cheapest actors, throw them in there, and whatever happens, and make sure that lady gets a girl boss haircut.
Yeah, I googled girl boss haircut, and there was like 15 different haircuts. There doesn't seem to be a consensus on what that looks like.
The official girl boss, I guess, is the one that like half of her head is shaved, and I guess she doesn't have
Isn't that Karen? Isn't that a Karen haircut?
Nah, I don't know. I think that like.
Or can I speak to your manager haircut?
No, not exactly. The one that the side is shaved. I don't know if that's a Karen one or whatever it's considered.
She does not have that kind of haircut in this movie.
No, she doesn't have a Karen or the side shaved.
She's like a Dorothy Hamill haircut.
Pixie
Anyone
thing.
who's old like me
yeah,
knows
like the pixie kind of cut. Yeah, I know Dorothy.
I think she looks cute. I don't know.
I didn't have that much of a problem with it, I guess. Did you just say you're drunk?
I started taking shots every time Price said girl boss haircut.
It's not that I needed some big
Jesus
drama
Christ.
here.
I might need an intervention.
I didn't need it to be a drama like Godzilla -1. It didn't have to be that significant, but I just feel like they didn't make the minimum effort. That's all I'm saying. That even whatever minimum effort they could have made, they didn't do it.
You're making me want to like up my rating to defend.
I know, like I enjoyed myself so much. I'm like, I mean, I guess I know I'm supposed to be critical, like the movie? But
Price?
Yes.
Yes, you did like it?
No. I said what I said. I said that I'd give it a 60 out of 100 means I wouldn't fail it because it's the type of movie that people will go see for the monsters. And in that sense, the movie delivers.
60% is failing. When was the last time? How long ago did you graduate college?
No, 50.
She's right. 67 is technically.
No, the way I give grades, like with the movies, I don't know what happens in school.
Are you a teacher?
The way I give, I'm saying like.
No, I see what he's saying though. If it was like 6 out of 10, to me that's like, yeah, that's recommendation.
Okay.
So basically, 59 out of 100 would have been a fail for me. 60 out of 100 means that it just somehow gets by.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to fail it because I understand what genre it is, and there is people that want to see this exact type of movie. They keep making it over and over again, and they do the same kind of formula when it comes to the humans being like irrelevant. So if you like that kind of movie, then it delivers that kind of movie. So I can't fail it. I feel like it does whatever it's supposed to do. But when I look at something like Godzilla -1, they're worlds apart quality wise.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think the biggest problem here. And I was just going to say that I think the bigger problem here, and this is not. I mean, I can't blame you for this because you're just reviewing the movie as a movie. But I mean, I'm reviewing it as what I expected it to be and what I think people's expectations are going to be. And I think only a small amount of people are going to go into this. And I mean, a very small amount of people are going to go into this thinking about it's going to be anything like Godzilla -1, right? I mean, if you've seen any of these films in this series before, if you think all of a sudden they're going to go back to the super serious stuff and not only that, uber serious like -1, then yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I think most people know exactly what they're getting into here. And I mean, on that level, that's where I wouldn't give it like a 10 out of 10 or a 9, but I mean, I'd give it like a 7 or an 8 at least on the level of it did a really good job of entertaining me. I didn't have a bad time. I felt really good leaving the film, which is not something I can say too often anymore. Honestly, I mean, I probably liked it even a little bit more than Ghostbusters. I don't know, in some respects, just as far as pound for a movie. I had less problems with it, but I didn't go into it. I have completely different expectations for a movie like this than I do Ghostbusters. See, and that's where I understand where Price is coming from, but I'm not rating it that way. Because like Godzilla -1 is definitely a 10 out of 10 film.
You're looking to see the monsters, and then the humans are, like I keep saying, kind of irrelevant. And if that's your philosophy, then this movie is great for you because it gives you the monsters that you wanted to see, and you didn't care about the humans anyways. I don't especially care about them, but I'm saying somebody sat and tried to write a screenplay. They could have done it a little better, even if they're sort of dumb and insignificant and don't matter. You could still make it. Even in that sense, I feel like they were lazy. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'll accept that they're irrelevant, but it's like they didn't even invest. I mean, there's still a budget for this movie. It was $135 million to make. Can't you hire a person that'll just do the minimum? Like somebody who, instead of a 5-year-old writing it, it'll be like a 25-year-old writing it. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes, I know what you mean, but at the same time, I disagree with you because I feel like they did exactly what they set out to accomplish with this. Because I guarantee you that they told the writer, the biggest thing people are complaining about are the people. Get rid of the people as much as possible. Make sure that the plot with the people only has to do with the monsters and nothing else. And on that level, they have succeeded across the board on this movie. And that's why I'm enjoying it. Like, every complaint I've had about the last 3 films, completely fixed. Completely fixed here. No issues whatsoever. There's not too much humans. They play into the plot perfectly fine. If anything, Rebecca Hall is like, sadly, just there most of the time being a sad, worried mother. But then that kind of pays off later anyway. So, I mean, it's still part of the plot, right? Like, I mean, I'm just saying her part of the plot is the only one that has very little to do with the monsters, but it does kind of feed into the Mothra. So I can't even say that. So that's my biggest complaints about any of the films prior to this as a uber Godzilla Kong fan have been completely addressed. And I know this movie's for kids and I know they're making money that way. So I'm encouraged. I think it's great that we have both worlds, right? I'm looking at it from that perspective. I love that I can go see something like Godzilla -1. Well, I can't now, but when I could. And I also love that we have this series ongoing and it's very popular, especially with kids, because the kids watching this in 10 years from now are going to discover Godzilla -1. You know what I mean? Like, to me, there's nothing wrong with this. This is paying complete homage to the old school Godzilla films.
Well, Tom, I say we boot Price.
No, we got to have a varied opinion on the film.
No, I'm saying that because he has to leave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're getting a little long in the tooth anyway here. This was not meant to be this long. Because you have a stream coming up. I have a stream I was supposed to jump on too. But we got a couple super chats here. Let's get through these. Abdulio says, happy to hear you like this film, like Toho's films. It's exactly what I was hoping for. There have always been 2 styles of kaiju films, and both can exist. Yep. Tommy Review says, Hail Midnight's Edge, about to see the movie tomorrow. Is there a post-credit scene, and is it good? Came late. Also, UE restocking the Umbrella and stocking the Fungus edition. I think it gets a different cover, though. I'd have to look again. Yeah, I did see that.
SMB 93 Fungus.
Super Mario Brothers, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And no, there's no post-credit scene, so
no, there isn't.
Good to go. Jason Webster says, when taking into account the overall budget production of US dollars 215 to 30 million for Godzilla X Kong, it only cost 135. I don't know where you got.
Yeah, but he's talking the marketing too.
Oh, plus the marketing. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's gonna do just fine. I think it's gonna do just fine. Yeah.
Oh, I'm worried.
I'm not. I'm more worried about Ghostbusters, like you said before the show.
Yeah, I think Ghostbusters is going to lose money. I think this isn't going to lose money. I don't know how much money it makes, but worldwide, it's not going to lose.
I think Ghostbusters is going to fall to 3rd or 4th place.
Did you read that whole thing? It has to earn.
Oh, films only 30 60 million to break even, which is basically what the last one earned. Films only earn 50% of the global box office. Yeah. No, I think it'll do just fine, especially on video. You got to factor in the video too on that. Jason Webster, some people say Godzilla X Kong New Empire should earn 490 worldwide. I believe the film will earn 500 to 550 worldwide. Yeah, I think it might even go higher than that, unless it totally falls off a cliff, which there's nothing really for it to compete with. That's the thing. And I don't think people are going to all of a sudden start going to see Ghostbusters or something like that.
They should, though. It's good.
They should, but DCB Titan says Little Kong, like Diddy Kong. Yeah. But not Diddler Kong.
This little Kong was
Abdulio,
cooler than Diddy Diddler.
Diddy Diddler. Any Kong is better than P Diddle.
Yeah,
Or are you talking about the little Junior Kong from Super
the
Mario
little
Brothers?
Junior Kong. He's cooler than
Yeah.
anything with Diddy in its name.
Abdulio says, "Did any classic Toho music return?" You know, honestly, this is one thing I don't think so. And the score was kind of weird. That would probably be one of my main. I don't know what they were thinking. The score goes completely like electronic score, whatever you call it.
And then they throw in these
80s
rock and roll songs.
These kind of 80s vibe in the middle. It was a weird thing.
I didn't mind the rock and roll songs, but the music was very kind of synth
all over the
wave.
place.
That's the word I was like thinking.
Yeah,
every
80s.
Every time they would play a song, I think, oh, now Tom has to play this on Mead Radio.
There's some good ones in there.
Yeah. I mean, there were some good ones. It was just I prefer like a score for a Godzilla movie. This was different for me.
This was an electronic kind of score, yeah. But we'll see. Maybe I'll pick it up for Mead Radio. Daramuth says having Dan Stevens in the movie was awesome. Yeah, Dan Stevens played Trapper. He was probably one of the cooler parts of the film.
Yeah, I liked him.
What else was he in?
I've never seen him before.
He has been in. Let's see here. More recently, he did a voice for.
He had that boy boss haircut, though.
Nothing I have ever seen before. Believe it or not. In 2017, he was in Beauty and the Beast, I guess, and played Beast. So I did see that.
He looks totally different, like way different.
Yeah, I imagine so.
In these pictures, and he did in the movie. Like,
yeah,
I would not have recognized him.
Yeah, he looks way different. Like he bulked up a bit for this movie.
Yeah.
And then we've got Daramuth also saying for $2, still enjoyed it, still giving it a 9 out of 10. Wow, you really liked it. Cool.
Yeah.
Doug, 1985, VA loves horrors here. How you doing, Doug? It says, I imagine Price being Tom and Six Father saying, help me understand why y'all like this movie to you guys who are 10 and 12. Yeah, but Price is also reviewing it as a film reviewer, right? He's just flat out reviewing it as a film, not off his expectations or, how do I put it? I mean, you're just on your merits. You're just reviewing it on the merits as a film and a film only. Yeah,
that's true.
That's what I was trying to say. But yeah,
yeah, no, I'm not offended by your description, and you're right. I'm critical because I really look at writing, even in a movie like this, and I feel like they could have done a better job. But with that being said, just like with, and I keep saying it over and over again, there are movies like this, like the Transformers, whatever it is, where the you want to see the creatures, you want to see the monsters, and if that's what you came to see, this movie will give that to you.
Annie King Ghidorah, no, but they do talk about him a little bit. And thank you for the $2, Abdulio. And Mecha J, you'll probably like the music then. And Many Dragon, for some reason, I want to say they did when Godzilla first emerged, but I could be wrong. Because I think the trailer, the music, I keep wanting to say the trailer. The score was just all synthwave from my memory. But if they did, I don't remember specifically, so I don't want to falsely say yes or no. But I don't recall. So.
Thanks, Daramuth. I haven't seen
okay.
or Legion, but
Legion I'm aware of, yeah. I've never seen Downton Abbey, but I know what it is.
I know my coworkers have seen it. Jesus.
For the most part, I guess we recommend it. So check out Godzilla X Kong. If you
do you recommend it, Price?
What, Godzilla X Kong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the movie we're talking about today.
Right. I mean, recommend is a strange word. It's a matter of what it is that you like. If you like the previous ones, if you like the Kong versus Godzilla, the one before that, if you like that kind of stuff, then you'll like this movie. If you're hoping to see some kind of Godzilla -1 level movie, it's not going to be anywhere close.
What if somebody held a gun to your head and said, you can only answer yes or no? Do you recommend this movie?
I'd begrudgingly say...
Oh my God.
I'd begrudgingly say that if I have to say yes, but again, I'd say yes, but a 60 out of 100. But if I have to, I guess I'd say yes. Under duress, what can I do?
Okay.
All right. So with that, I guess we got 2 recommendations and a maybe.
I agree. You're right, Jaramuth. Thank you.
Probably. Especially the music in it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it's like Guardians of the Galaxy type music, but it was like a lot of 70s and 80s. And some
Well, I
even
liked
older
when
stuff.
somebody called him Trapper Ace Ventura.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
had
that was
the
pretty good.
shirt. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he had that shirt.
That was
And
great.
Kong seems to like classic music for some reason. They always use classic kind of songs for Kong. And I don't mean like classical. I mean like 30s, 40s, 50s kind of music. Or more like 40s and 50s or whatever. So there's a few of those in there, but otherwise, yeah, the Trapper music is all kind of like 70s and 80s.
Uh-oh.
Abdulio says,
Take a
sounds
shot.
like Price of Reason is a Godzilla normie. Oh, that made Godzilla mad.
What do you say to that, Price?
You know, it's fine if I have actually seen some of the Japanese movies. Even recently, I watched the original, and I've seen 1985, which I didn't like back in the day. But I'm not going to say
that got me into this shit.
I'm not saying that I'm the biggest Godzilla expert. I wouldn't say I'm a complete normie because I've already watched a lot of these movies, but I don't know. I semi-normie.
This is basically, for those who are curious, this is basically like one of the all-out monster fight kind of movies, right? Basically. I mean, it's not so much a Godzilla versus Kong. They do fight once, but Kong is pulling his punches most of the time, except for when he doesn't. Because he's pissed. But he gets him back for kicking his ass in the last one, let's say.
You know what? I was disappointed that little baby Kong was not his offspring. I thought Kong was going to get it on.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And
yeah. But
I was
you never know.
disappointed.
Now he might get a wife. So,
I was looking for some monkey loving. No, I wasn't. That's gross.
Maybe Kong's gay. And he's just looking for
Maybe
a
he
gay
watched
ghost.
Ghostbusters and
That's
now
right.
he's like,
now he's gay.
oh. Yeah.
I need to look longingly into the eyes of a male monkey.
Mm-hmm. And lean.
All
in.
right, kids.
What you got coming up, Price?
Yeah, you got
well,
your Quantum Leap show.
Yeah, in like 1 minute.
So get going. See you on your Quantum Leap show.
All right, cool. Bye.
Have fun talking about Quantum Leap.
On Price of Reason Live channel, correct?
Yes, Price of Reason Live.
All right, check it out, boys and girls. And check out his regular channel as well. 6, anything you got going on?
Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow at noonish Eastern. And then April 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern, Culture Casinos 15K celebration pigtail stream. It's on like Donkey Kong.
All right.
It's confirmed.
And I will be over on Nanette Pacelli's talking, or Troy Pacelli's, one of the two, talking about Dune for a bit.
Netter's Network?
Netter's Network, yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yes.
Oh, I got to get the link in there.
It is going to shift over to that anyway, but yes.
Oh, okay.
But you can go ahead and throw it in
there.
there.
There it is.
Yeah. Oh, we got one more super chat. Cryam says, maybe said early, but I am lazy. Should we rewatch the prior films going in? I think you'll enjoy it the best if you watch all the prior films in the Monarch show before you watch it. But at the very least, I'd say watch Godzilla versus Kong before you see it, just because this is more of a direct sequel to that. Basically, yeah.
Watch every Godzilla movie and every Kong movie.
Yeah, all 60 of them.
Seeing this. Quit your job. No.
No, yeah. In the very least, I'd say Godzilla versus Kong. But if you really want to get in there, just watch them all, plus the Monarch show. I know a lot of people have been saying that the Monarch show is woke. I didn't find it so much woke. I there's one episode where things that really bothered me about it, but it just kind of just didn't go anywhere. So I was like, whatever.
Well,
and
they threw a lesbian kiss in there, right?
There's this whole lesbian subplot that goes nowhere. And the only reason I say that and I have a problem with it isn't because they're lesbians. It's because they don't answer a question that you're like, okay, did it matter? Not so much if they were lesbians, but did it matter if she went on that bus or the other bus? Right? Like, they don't give you an answer. Maybe that's coming in season 2. I don't know. But to me, leaving that hanging was like, okay, so you just shoved a lesbian relationship in there just to have a lesbian relationship then? Because You're not giving us any conclusion on it, right?
But if it's still, I mean, if it's still a good show, then who cares?
No, and that's it. That's the only time it took me out of the show.
That's what I'm asking you. Is it a good enough show to where you can say, okay, they threw a lesbian relationship in there for no reason, but who cares? Because the rest of the show is really good.
Yeah, because that's just one episode. Other than that, they don't dwell on it because the rest of the show is mostly telling you stuff about the history of Monarch and Hollow Earth. And you got Kurt Russell and his kid playing the same part, which is kind of cool. I mean, yeah, some of the other characters are kind of annoying. I don't disagree with what some people have said, but overall, I found it quite entertaining. And there's a monster in almost every episode, if not more. You'd see some Godzilla and shit. So yeah, I thought it was fun. This movie though was a lot of fun. Way up there.
It was good.
Go see it if you can.
Bryce took a big old giant diarrhea dump on it.
He's in line with most critics.
Little stinker.
I seen the critics have
really. I haven't read any of the reviews.
Yeah, they dumped it down to 32% on the Rotten.
Oh man, fuck on it. Yeah. I mean, and like I can say, yeah, I don't care what anybody else thinks. It doesn't take away my enjoyment, but it does affect whether we're going to get another one or not. So that's why I'm kind of bummed that it's not getting good ratings. It's not like I wrote it or anything. I'm not personally offended.
I thought it did a pretty good job, Jason, but I'm curious with some people
listening at home. They can't read that comment.
Oh, sorry. He says, no, Tom, it's not quite fixed. There's still room for improvement in the legendary Godzilla Monsterverse. Yeah, probably. But I thought overall, I think the one thing that I think most Toho fans are going to have an issue with is the whole Mothra thing. And I'm curious if they even will. So we'll see. That's the thing I think I'm most more like, I didn't mind it, but I'm curious if people are going to freak out that it's not Japanese twins. So we'll see. But with that, Six, anything more to say on the show so I can get out of here and over to Netters?
Nope. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody who sent super chats. And everybody go to Netters Network. Go subscribe to our channel and watch Tom talk about... Are you talking about Dune? Dune 2?
Dune the Spice Diver cut.
Spice Diver. Yeah, go watch Netters Network. And then you can watch the Spice Diver cut afterward on for free on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a watch party or if we're just talking about it or what, but yeah.
Yeah.
I should be up to speed on that, but I'm not. I'm kind of like Kong like that. Abdulio says with $2 the twins were in King of Monsters. They don't return. Gia takes over that role now, and it's a new version of it's basically the Mothra Reborn. So yeah. Like I said, they take some liberties there, so I'm curious if some people will be upset about that. I didn't have a problem with it though. I thought it was fine. They're going their own direction, and it's cool. But it is what it is. I'm curious what other people will think about it. I overall thought it was a very enjoyable 2-hour film, under 2-hour film actually, which is also a plus. So go see it if you can. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you later.